Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump is reportedly announcing his presidential run for 2024 within days. We're going to talk about that, oil prices, the economy, the geopolitical nightmare that's taking place. We're going to talk about the administration of mashed potato brains, which has been an absolute catastrophe, and a whole lot of things. Definitely hit subscribe to the Nuclear Confrontation channel and also the Oil Prices 150 channel. That is below in the pinned comment and description of all my segments. To my super chat, I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. So if you enjoy these segments, I'm going to try to do them every day. Your super chat is greatly appreciated. Helps me go ahead and do these live streams. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people. So first and foremost, Herschel Ballard starting it off. Thank you, Herschel, for the super chat. And I just appreciate your support via Super Chat. Hello, everybody. Quinn, Indy Joy, G. Corber, everybody here, Dark Meta, Eric. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so very much. Let's get started. Trump told allies he's considering announcing 2024 run. This is fantastic. I hope he does it tomorrow. We need some kind of change within the American political paradigm. This obsession with stopping Trump, like the whole point of the committee in Congress is to stop him from running. It's not about keeping the country safe, because Kinzinger, Cheney, Democrats didn't condemn $1 to $2 billion in property damage. Could you imagine? And I agree with the cause. I agree with why people were demonstrating that summer. But could you imagine $1 to $2 billion in property damage linked to Trump supporters? Could you imagine that? 14,000 arrests according to Wikipedia. Could you imagine that? What do you think they would say? What would AOC? What would Mashed Potato Brains Joe? What would Pelosi say? Could you imagine 14,000 arrests, 19 lives lost? Could you imagine a Fox News pundit in front of a building set ablaze saying, well, it's mostly peaceful. It's fiery, but mostly peaceful. Could you imagine that, ladies and gentlemen? What would they say? Exactly, you can't stop the unstoppable. That's right. That's right. Orange Man good, Dark Meta, exactly. Hello, Hal, hello. Jane, hello. I hope everybody had a wonderful 4th of July. God bless you all. It is insanity out there. And again, I'll just keep saying, no amount of laws and legislation can stop a madman. Only reciprocal force can. Only reciprocal force. See, Democrats in media and wonderful, morally superior liberals, highly educated, wonderful people, they don't see things that way. They think that as long as you implement a law, criminals and people intent upon committing as much damage to society as possible will abide by those laws. Or, I'm sorry, it'll make it more difficult for them to cause havoc. If prohibition didn't work, and people can buy illegal substances anywhere they want, you're not going to stop not just criminals, but you're not going to stop people who are truly deranged just by adding more laws that they will then ignore. And the only people who will abide by these laws are law-abiding citizens. Okay? Law-abiding citizens will abide by the laws that blue states now, like these tragedies are taking place in blue state. We'll get to that a little later. But ladies and gentlemen, let's read this. Former President Donald Trump has privately told allies and aides in recent days that he is seriously considering announcing a 2024 run as early as this summer. He should do it within the next week. He should really do it within the next week. Trump's latest exploration of a political comeback and potential summer announcement of another presidential campaign was first reported by the New York Times. So, still Republican allies of Trump and former White House and campaign aides tell CBS they believe an early entry for another White House bid for Trump is a possibility. The former president left his home in Mar-a-Lago in Florida last month for a seasonal move to his residence in Bedminster, New Jersey. That was a real tragedy. I don't want to get too into it. It's just an absolute tragedy. And, oh my God, why? Why is this to every single time? Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. If you get kicked off of the stream, just please go ahead and log back on. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize for that. If you get kicked off, Barbie, hello. If you get kicked off, please go ahead and log back on. And I apologize. I have no clue why the stream sometimes does that. But many Republicans have planned this year to focus on economic issues, particularly high inflation that is exerting financial pressure on families nationwide. An early entry by Trump into the presidential race could prompt some candidates to focus instead on false. Okay, again, these are all part of the sensibilities of wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrats. Trump Republicans are winning in the primary, and they're following a playbook devised and created and designed by Donald Trump. They're winning Republican primaries, and they'll do just fine this year against Democrats in the midterms. There will probably be almost certainly 40 to 60 plus seats. So you're looking at 40 to 60 plus seats in the House and also in the Senate. So the issue pertaining to Trump being a distraction, it's everyone knows he's running again. It's just a matter of him announcing he's not going to be a distraction. Our economy is going to get worse. Oil prices are going to go to $150 per barrel, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I started. I keep on changing my other channels, but I think I have the nuclear confrontation channel. So Moscow just launched or just tested, if you could believe this, a Satan II missile, and it's capable of serious damage. God forbid. And they've been threatening the UK. So to my UK viewers, that's all. It's been in the news lately, and I talk about that on the nuclear confrontation and stock market crash channel. So that's a segment, if you can believe it. The name is the Satan II. So, and it's a really scary, basically 10 nuclear warheads on one gigantic intercontinental ballistic missile. So that's really scary. And I talk about that on the nuclear confrontation and stock market crash channel. So please watch that channel and subscribe there. And then I also talk about oil prices going to $150 per barrel. Bitcoin will get to $10,000 or lower. You will see an implosion within crypto that will continue. I did call, ladies and gentlemen. Did I not call in September? How many people, how many YouTubers do you know, ladies and gentlemen, in September of last year that told their viewers? How many people do you know told their viewers that the economy is going to tank? Okay, at least within the political realm. And that's true. Recession usually causes gas prices to fall, but the problem is the supply is no longer there. We don't have the same supply that we used to. We are still not. JB, hello. We still don't have the same supply. We still don't have the same supply that we did. We're about a 1.5 million barrels per day short. So from 2019, the production is short about 1.5 million. So, and then also you have a geopolitical nightmare in Europe. The belief, this belief that, well, um, it just has to stay there forever. Um, it just has to the geopolitical crisis has to just continue forever uh, until Vladimir says I quit. But that's never going to happen. So we're going to have an AIG Lehman Brothers moment, unfortunately, in the near future. The stock market will continue to collapse. We are in a recession right now. I mean, we're in a recession right now. Okay. Do you think the third quarter is going to be any better? You remember, it's the economy, stupid. Remember when Bill Clinton's administration, the one thing you could say about Bill Clinton is that the economy was good. Okay? You could say that his presidency was a success because the economy was good. Oh, finally you're speaking some sense instead of the usual nonsense. You and your babbling. Finally you said something nice about me. You could say at least the economy was good. Which, with George W. Bush, he not only is the worst president ever because of how he reacted to the worst day in American history, but the never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, the quagmires that he got the country into, he destabilized an entire region of the world. We needed Donald Trump to negotiate the Doha Agreement. And Biden completely botched that. Joel Valdez. World is in chaos. Joel Valdez, hello. I need to start that. Everything is you know what channel. Joel Valdez, thank you. Happy 4th to you, Joel. Thank you so very much. To my super chat. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Lisa, hello. Exactly. The world is and the world is in chaos because you have Biden going into mashed potato brains going into the Oval Office. Joel, thank you again. Greatly appreciated, sir. Thank you. As always, Joel, thank you. You have mashed potato brains going into the Oval Office, and he is then saying, well, you know what? When he goes into the Oval Office, he wants to do away with fossil fuels and slowly make the transformation of the U.S. economy. He wants to transform the U.S. economy immediately after becoming president, from an economy based on fossil fuels to a clean energy, renewable energy economy. Okay, we don't have the technology to do that. We don't have the tech, so you don't even have to. When you look at like inflation, 8 to 9%, gas prices through the roof. You can look. Biden's approval poll sinks below Trump. Approval rating makes public perception. Okay, of course, I say you can't get when President Joe Biden's approval rating hit a new low and touched 39.7%, worse than his predecessor Donald Trump's ratings at this point in 2018. According to a new poll. Okay, so the poll conducted by 530 has found after 510 days in office, the president faces a disapproval rating of 53.7%. Of course, they ask for you to join, but when you have all of media, think of what Trump was able to accomplish, despite negative media coverage, like 90+% negative media coverage, 95+%. I mean, there was just never a positive article about Trump. Joel, thank you again. There was just never a positive article. And so you have to understand, like, Biden's approval rating sinks to new low. Trump was markedly more popular at this point in his presidency. At this point in his presidency, the Democratic Party media, there was the Mueller probe special counsel. These were for the same people who react in horror when Trump doesn't, accept certain things. They didn't accept Trump. Not even 1 second did they accept Trump as president. Not 1 second. did they give him a moment of peace? And then they react in horror as, you know, he voices his viewpoints. Now, the economy is going to get worse. The Durham probe special counsel is going to get more interesting, not less interesting. I ask that my viewers pay attention to the Durham probe special counsel. I will be doing more segments on that. I'll be doing a very important segment tomorrow morning. You have to link the Durham probe special counsel to what Democrats did with the Mueller probe. They had parallel investigations in the House and the Senate. Okay, you're going to have parallel investigations in the House and Senate. You will have parallel investigations, and that's all they're going to do. They're going to impeach. They're going to impeach mashed potato brains Joe immediately, like within the first 3-4 months of within the first probably 6-7 months of 2023. So you can believe that 2023 is around the corner. They're going to impeach mashed potato brains Joe. Those emails and voicemails will be front and center. Okay, at the end of the day, you're not going to have the Mitt Romneys and Paul Ryans and Liz Cheneys and Adam Kinzingers of the world. You know, these people are not going to be running the Republican Party from here on out. The Republican Party is going to be a more populist political party. Okay? And that's what Trump was able to do. Trump is one of the great individuals in American political histories, one of the great presidents we've had. If you look at his accomplishments, he's the best president in my lifetime, just in terms of accomplishments. If you look back, you could say Reagan also. I mean, you could even put Bill Clinton as one of the better presidents we've had, even though I'm not a fan of the Clintons at all. You could say, I'm just being objective, if you just judge a president by the economy. I'm looking at Trump based on his economic record, okay? And his foreign policy was much better, infinitely better than Bush's, and much better, well, infinitely better than President Obama's foreign policy, okay? So if you just judge a president by his accomplishments, just judge Trump by his accomplishments, he's infinitely better. We had a great economy, a foreign policy that was actually, he worked to negotiate deals. The Doha Agreement was a prime example. He reversed 20 years of failed foreign policy. 20 years of failed foreign policy started by Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, and people like Biden, people like Clinton and Kerry. That's one of the reasons Kerry lost in 2004, because he voted for he voted alongside the terrible foreign policy. But that's the thing, like these people like Kerry and Biden, they don't really stand for anything. They stand for whatever is popular in DC, from a little bit of a liberal perspective. They don't really stand for anything. Trump with the tariffs against China is a prime example of why he's a great president. The tariffs were a tactic. They were part of a long-term strategy. They were a tactic. They were a short-term tactic, part of a long-term strategy. Okay? And it was a long-term economic strategy that he had, that Trump had, saying, look, you're not going to just go ahead and dump steel and steal technology and all that. Lou, thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's just one example. But then, I mean, the Doha Agreement, he reversed Lincoln Project, Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld foreign policy. See, Democrats and media, and the problem with American society today is that you have late night, all of media, like they've all taken one political side. But they keep saying things like we have to save the country from Trump. Save the country from what? A great economy? 2% inflation? Less than $3 gas prices? What are you saving the United States from? His personality? Nobody cares. These people don't care. That's why he got half the electorate 2 years ago. They don't care. They also don't trust, most Americans don't trust or really care what media says. And when you look at what they kept saying before he got elected, oh, he's going to cause so much damage. We had a great economy and a great foreign policy. And did he make some mistakes? Yeah. Did he make the endless list of, were there debacles and, just like a catastrophe? Was there a catastrophe in foreign policy, like with mashed potato brains and an economy in free fall? No, there wasn't. Notice how the media is just trying desperately to prop up Joe. It's not working. It's not working. I mean, they're trying desperately. That's why, like, when he announces, he should do that very quickly. He should do that this week. There's no reason to wait. There's just no reason to wait. He announces this week that Merrick Garland can't indict him because the DOJ has nothing to indict him on. It's all hearsay, gossip. It wasn't a break-in. Watergate was a break-in. The Federal Bureau of Investigation already investigated and looked at, they investigated 2 years ago on that fateful day in January, right after January, if there was any concerted effort to overthrow these people media thinks that there was an actual attempt to overthrow our government. They're like completely insane. They're completely insane. There was zero attempt. It was a terrible moment where a whole bunch of people got out of hand and started committing criminal acts. And Great Grandma Anon! You're the only one who knows what's going on. I was thinking about you, Great Grandma Anon. You are absolutely wonderful. Thank you so very much. I was thinking about you. And just this, you're an icon. You're a legend. And you should know that. Everybody knows that. Great Grandma Anon, thank you. Thank you. I was thinking about how many people are legends and icons. How many women are legends and icons in that industry? And I can, and you and just a handful of other women I could think of. A Great Grandma Anon, God bless you. Thank you so very, very much. I hope all is well. Happy 4th of July. And just thank you so very much. Great Grandma Anon, thank you. Yeah, I was thinking, honestly, how many people can you name, ladies and gentlemen, who are truly icons or legends in their field? Lou Baldonado! Media is working Joe overtime. They definitely, or Joe is working overtime to try to find out what he's going to say next. Lou, thank you so very, very much. Great Grandma, and I hope all is well. I was thinking about you the past couple of weeks. That, you know what? She is truly a legend, and I do watch what's going on, and I hope all is well. It's the truth. It's the truth. You can't, it's interesting, ladies and gentlemen. You go and can you relax? Can you take like a time off, ladies and gentlemen, in the evening? And can you forget about politics? You used to be able to watch Arsenio Hall, Johnny Carson. Decades earlier, you watch Jack Parr, or Letterman, like when he was younger, or Conan in the 90s. You used to watch Conan now. But you used to be able to watch Johnny Carson and enjoy yourself at night. Okay? You could go and watch a baseball game, or you could watch a movie, or watch the Academy Awards or the Emmys. Nobody talked about politics. Politics was like one element of life. Great Grandma Anon, thank you so very, very much. Remember those days when you can just enjoy yourself? Remember those days when you can just enjoy yourself and not have Jimmy Kimmel scream into your ear about how bad Trump was? I mean, there has to be some kind of campaign finance law. If you work for the Democratic Party, just say you do. Okay? Just say you work for, like, Stephen Colbert. Just say you work for the Democratic Party. It's like 7 staffers who were arrested for trespassing and unlawful entry, and these people still pontificate. They have no clue. Like, they're the biggest hypocrites on the planet. They don't understand, like, the notion of hypocrisy is foreign to them. They don't get it. So, great grandma Anon, thank you again. As always, Lou Maldonado, thank you so much, Lou. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, Trump needs to, like, he needs to save the country before Republicans need to take over the House, Senate. They will. And there needs to be either DeSantis or Trump. At this point right now, great grandma Anon, Lou, everyone here, I did DeSantis or Trump. I like Trump. Give me Trump, but give me DeSantis or anyone not named Joe. And you watch, I'm telling you, Hillary's going to come. It's going to be Hillary Trump 2020. We need Hillary. We need Hillary Trump 2024. Joe Valdez! You need a price for the biggest donor for the night. Shirt, maybe a cap. I got to think of something. Great grandma Anon, thank you again. Joe Valdez! I have only I have like one shirt. But I don't even know if my YouTube site, like, if it has it anymore. It was the shirt. Joel said profanity alert. Who remembers the profanity alerts? YouTube was so different like 4 years ago. I was able to use profanity and start yelling and using I would say profanity alert. Trump and exactly. Great grandma Anon, exactly. Just the entertainment value. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you, great grandma Anon. You're awesome. Just the entertainment value. Great grandma Anon. Trump and Hillary. Could you imagine? We're just gonna do it all over again. We need to. We're stuck in 2016. We're stuck in 2016, and I want every YouTuber. I want every person, and Joel and Lou and great grandma Anon, everybody here. Here's why I want Trump Hillary. Because they tried to disparage me, wrote hit pieces on me in 2016 when my writing was just being shared hundreds of thousands of times in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon. I was on MSNBC and CNN, if you could believe that. And I said Clinton was going to lose to Trump. At that moment in time, the lightning in the bottle moment, not the Bernie Sanders of today. Bernie Sanders at that very moment, not the Bernie of today, not the one who's the tool of the Democratic Party. At that very moment, he would have won. Democrats did that to themselves. They lost the Supreme Court. They did it to themselves. They always want their cake and eat it too. Okay, they did that to themselves. Had they not cheated Bernie Sanders at that very moment, not today, not like any moment after, it was a lightning in a bottle moment. It would be entertainment. It would be entertainment. It would be so entertaining. But see, Hillary can't go. She can't go on Howard Stern. She can't do like these like orchestrated things. She has to. Trump and anyone he goes up against, but definitely Donald Trump or DeSantis, they have to go on Tim Pool, Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro. They have to do that. They have to go ahead. Donald Trump has to get on before the algorithm prevents him from doing so. If he does that, he'll build momentum that you cannot believe. Goes on Tim Pool, goes on Joe Rogan, goes on Ben Shapiro, asks some questions. And like I always said, in 2015, ladies and gentlemen, go and watch 2015 Trump when he was talking to Joe and Mika at MSNBC. I think he even had an interview, if you can call it that, with Anderson Cooper in 2015, 2016. He would be on MSNBC and CNN all the time. Okay? R.A. Johnson, your 401k is now 201k. Exactly. He would go, he had no problem. That's what needs to happen. Great grandma Anon, thank you again. That's what needs to happen. He needs to be the Trump of 2015, 2016, and he'll be unstoppable. When you are able to sit in front of somebody wants to just ruin you, and smile and be calm and just, yes, answer, and yes, yeah, well, here's why you're wrong. And just, that's what he was doing. Because he knew that they were trying to ruin him, but he didn't care. Now, what happened was he got tired, and that's natural, and he got indignant, and that's just a natural occurrence. And so when Trump would have those interviews in 2020, when he would have those interviews, it wouldn't work out. He would get flustered, he would get angry, he would get frustrated, and it wouldn't work out. But Richard, I would never vote for Bernie again, ever, ever, ever. I would never vote for any Democrat unless the Democrat was Tulsi Gabbard and the Republican was Mittens Romney. By the way, do you know Great Grandma Anna? Did you see the Mittens Romney Pierre Delecto article in the Atlantic? Hey, let's read this. Let's read this. Lou, Joel, Herschel Ballard, Great Grandma Anon. Okay, hold on one second. We have to read this. This is the best article. Joe Biden's a good man. He's a good person. He's a good person. Never did anything bad to anybody. Hold on one second here. America's in denial. The Atlantic. Mittens Romney. What's happened to the bald eagle? Who kidnapped the bald eagle? The Atlantic. This is written by his staffer because there's no way he's going to write any of this. But here. No! Okay, hold on one second. Here we go. President Joe Biden is a genuinely good man. Really? Why don't you ask his accuser, and why don't you ask the people who were incarcerated forever because of the '94 crime bill for things they shouldn't have been incarcerated for such a long time? Why don't you ask the people who suffered from his foreign policy decisions, and why don't you ask anyone who has to pay a lot more, like a great deal more, for food and groceries and energy? It's unbelievable. President Joe Biden, this is Mittens Romney. President Joe Biden is a genuinely good man. He's assaulted. He's a good man. No, he's not. He's just a career politician. Never made it past Iowa, by the way, but he's just a career politician. But it is yet to be unable to break through our national malady of denial, deceit, and distrust. This is from the man, Mitt Romney, who's writing in The Atlantic, a newsletter of the Democratic Party. You can only get published in The Atlantic if you despise Trump. If your life is devoted to contempt against Trump, then you'll be published. If you even have a tiny modicum of, admiration for Trump, you will never in a million years be published in The Atlantic. But here's the man talking about denial, deceit, and distrust. A return of Donald Trump would feed this. Oh, here we go. Probably rendering it incurable. Yes, incurable. We survived the Civil War and Pearl Harbor, but this will be incurable. To have a good economy again, God forbid. God forbid we have a good economy. We can't have that. Congress is particularly disappointing. Our elected officials put a finger in the wind. A finger in the wind? Okay. This reminds me of Eric Swalwell. A finger in the wind more frequently than they show backbone against it. Too often Washington demonstrates the maxim that for evil to thrive only requires good men to do nothing. What a bunch of nauseating nonsense. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. I mean, this is like, what? He's talking about, first of all, he's talking about Biden, who could have prevented hostilities in Europe by negotiating. Trump would have negotiated. Great Grandma Anon, thank you again. You're so wonderful. Thank you. And everybody here, thank you. To the super chat, you're all wonderful. Thank you so very, very much. I hope this is where he's like asking Paul Ryan to run again. I hope for a president who could rise above the din. What he's trying to say is vote for me. I want Romney to run. I can't believe I don't know what kind of name Trump would make up for him, but it'd be hilarious. I don't even know Rascal Romney. I don't even know. But here, I hope for a president who could rise above the din to unite us behind the truth. Several contenders with experience and smart stand in the wings. Really? Who? Aside from DeSantis. Who? We intently watch to see if they all possess the requisite character and ability to bring the nation together. There will never be a Republican that Democrats and media and Hollywood and the music industry and social media algorithms allow to just like have like a normal. There will never be a normal media, like a somewhat unbiased, objective media again. Every Republican from here on out will be an obstacle to democracy, a horrible person, great grandma, Rhino Romney. I think that's already his name. Great grandma, thank you so very much for being a member. You're wonderful. I hope all is well. You are absolutely wonderful. Rhino Romney, that's right. Rhino Romney. That is a good name. That is a good name. But I'm thinking, what would be a better name? Rhino Romney? It would have to start with an R, so Rascal wouldn't work. I mean, I don't know. Rhino Romney is... Rhino Romney is a good one, though. That is a good one. We intently watch to see, okay, while we wait, leadership must come from fathers and mothers, teachers and nurses, priests and rabbis, businessmen and businesswomen, journalists and pundits. Why does this man even talk? Journalists and pundits? Really? Really? The last people that you want to lead anything are journalists and pundits, the 99%. Okay? I'm voicing my opinion and my viewpoint. And I actually I don't have any allegiance to a political party. I like Trump, DeSantis, because I like actually good economy and a great foreign policy. But, it's not like I'm aligned with it. I don't live my life to prop up a political party like most pundits and journalists do. Those are the last people you want leading the country anywhere. They've led us into oblivion with their contempt for Trump. The lies by omission from media have been despicable, really insidious. But that's how they roll. When media lies about something, I just it's kind of like when I see Shark Week. I don't say that great white shark is biting the surfer. How could he do that? That's what a great white shark does. If you stick your hand and a scorpion bites it, or a spider, a tarantula, or whatever, it's that. That's what the creature does. Media, they lie by omission. CNN will tell you the truth. They won't tell you the whole truth. They'll tell you some of the truth, or they'll tell you a certain vantage point. A certain vantage point that will help one political party, the Democratic Party. That will require us to rise above ourselves, above our grievances and resentments. Oh, so kind of you, Mittens. You have tens of millions of dollars, Mittens. Tell us more about how we should rise above our grievances and grasp the mantle of leadership our country so badly needs. Blah. Nauseating, as always. This is a man who got 60 million votes with every possible benefit of the doubt in terms of media. He got a little bit critique from media because he said something about the people who don't pay, a certain percentage of the country don't pay taxes. But here we have, this will require us to rise above ourselves. There's layoffs. There's homeless people in Los Angeles, people there's an epidemic. There's a breakdown in society. And he's let's rise above ourselves. Above our grievances and resentments. But you think maybe the grievances are warranted? Look at the narcissism here. It's just your grievances and resentments. I think, it's interesting. He spent the whole article talking about how bad Trump is and how good Biden is. And then he wants us to rise above our grievances and resentments. It's well, you didn't even do that in this article. But great grandma Anon, thank you again. Great grandma Anon! Rhino Rhino. Rhino riding Romney. That's a good one. That's a thank you, great grandma Anon. Thank you so very, very, very much. Rhino riding Romney. Let's do a poll, great grandma Anon. Thank you so very. Smarmy Romney. That's a good one too. Rhino riding Romney. Okay, so what's a better Trump nickname? Thank you so very much, great grandma Anon. Thank you. What's a better Trump nickname for Romney? So Rhino riding Romney. Hold on. Or let's see. Oh, Pierre Delecto. What's better? Because I don't know if you know this, great grandma Anon and everybody here, Joel. His name was Pierre Delecto on Twitter, so he called himself Pierre Delecto on Twitter. Hold on one second here. America is in denial. Pierre Delecto here. Hold on. Pierre Delecto. So let's see, which one's better? Oh my God, it's neck and neck. Rhino riding Romney is pretty good because then you could have him riding a rhino. But Pierre Delecto is pretty dang good also. I think of the Rocky and Bullwinkle character. 19 votes. People, I need you to answer. Is it Rhino Ryan Romney? Thank you again. Great grandma Anon, thank you again. And happy 4th of July to you and your family. Thank you so much, as always. So it looks like Rhino riding Romney is going to win. I'm not sure if people know Pierre Delecto. I don't know if they rub it on it. Yeah. Reptile Romney is good. But it's just like it's interesting because you have like a politician is like a lifelong politician like Romney or Biden or all these people. It's probably the best racket because they don't really make money based on like their talent or their character. Or they find a way to just adapt their political viewpoints whenever it suits them. And so they won't really stand for anything. That's why Trump was like such a big obstacle to people like Romney and Biden. He didn't really care about this racket called politics. So he comes in, he's like, yeah, you know what? We're going to impose tariffs on China. They're getting away with a lot of things in terms of intellectual property and dumping steel and all this stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Republicans and Democrats would never have done that. Okay. Trump, first president to sign an executive order combating anti-Semitism on college campuses. No president would do that. Abraham Accords. Maybe a president here and there would try, but he got it done. Doha Agreement. What president had the courage to actually negotiate to get us out of that endless, our longest running military conflict and war? And so I have a segment, Great Grandma on, and I have two other fantastic channels. They're very uplifting. It's the Nuclear Confrontation channel and the Oil Prices 150. So I think Casey Martin, Casey. Thank you, Casey. Thank you so very much, Casey. Greatly appreciated. Happy 4th of July to you, Casey. Thank you. But here, I mean, this is the thing. Like Trump, he would negotiate and try to make sure that the geopolitical nightmare, and I'm speaking in roundabout terms because I have to, wouldn't have taken place, or at least it would have ended sooner than later. I did a segment on the Nuclear Confrontation channel, Nuclear Confrontation and Stock Market Crash channel on the Satan II. As if you haven't had enough bad news. I have a missile called the Satan II that actually can fly anywhere in the world, reach anywhere in the world, and has 10 nuclear warheads. It's something like exponentially more powerful than Hiroshima. And so, they're saying it's the most powerful of all the nukes in existence. Anyway, so I have a segment on that on the Nuclear Confrontation channel. That's below. If you go to the homepage of H.A. Goodman, you could see the Nuclear Confrontation and oil prices to 150. So real quickly, this is pretty good. This is Senator for Kansas. A brief look at President Biden's energy policies and anti-domestic agenda. It's right here. Okay. So since the day he took office, Biden is weakening U.S. energy independence, proposals and policies and nominees that blame the fossil fuel industry. So check this out. It says it right here. January 20th, Biden signs an executive order revoking approval for Keystone XL. May 28th, 2021, Biden proposes budget that would increase taxes on oil and gas companies, taking aim at fossil fuel industry. August 11th calls on OPEC to increase production. But here you have Biden takes office. The national average for gasoline is $2.38. Okay? $2.38. It was just over $5 not long ago. Diesel on average is close to $6. Biden signs an executive order revoking approval. Increasing taxes. Then I don't know why they didn't put the moratorium on federal leasing. But that's just, then you have an interesting White House report card. Zogby says Biden in real trouble. No matter what media does, no matter what these people do, everyone's blaming mashed potato brains. Everyone is blaming mashed potato brains. Indy Joy, thank you again for watching. God bless America, I agree. The president is in real trouble. Zogby said, grading a D. He added that approval polls of Biden and his handling of the economy are showing real dangers for him among Democratic bastions as well as independents. Everybody knows it's 2 years into his presidency. They can't blame Trump for that. Okay? So he keeps losing on the Supreme Court. And it's happening during his presidency. So this is a Rasmussen poll. President Biden has blamed major oil companies and Vladimir for high price. Critics say Biden's energy policies are the main to blame. Who bears most responsibility? Of course, mashed potato brains. I don't understand you could say big oil when he came into the Oval Office wanting to transform the economy from fossil fuels to renewables. I mean, he basically, he stated that. So I don't get how, I just don't understand how he how people can blame the oil and gas industry. Yes, they don't like it, but I don't get how they can do that. I just don't understand that. Right and Ron, exactly. Rhino riding Romney wins. Great Grandma Anon, you're right. High tones, hello. I just don't get it. But for so long, the oil and gas industry made so much money, and yet 2 years ago they lost billions upon billions of dollars because demand absolutely tanked. When Democrats, media, and experts tanked the U.S. economy, when they said end economic activity, was the worst economic sin that could ever have taken place. We are experiencing the repercussions of that, of what took place 2 years ago. So, yeah, I mean, it will be very interesting how media reacts to Trump announcing. So he'll announce sooner rather than later, before November, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, hopefully this week. Hopefully this week. Um, we'll see. It'll be interesting what Liz Cheney will say. Oh, this is a really bad day for democracy. It's literally the embodiment or the epitome of democracy. Having a former president run again, having somebody who had got half the electorate. He presided over a great economy. He did great things for the country. Did his Twitter profile overshadow that? He played a very, he played a dangerous game in terms of getting the media riled up. So he enjoyed that. But that, like, wonderful, morally superior, highly educated, almost always apoplectic liberal Democrats, their fuel is indignation. If you give them enough indignation, that'll bolster their political party. Joel Valdez! Everything Democrats do is to manipulate the stock market and benefit from insider trading. Up or down, they make money. Yeah, I mean, you can look at Pelosi, Richard Burr, Pelosi. It's like never Trump Republicans too. They made a lot of money from classified briefings. Dianne Feinstein, from classified briefings. So they had classified briefings, Joel, right before March of 2020. And then they found out that the market was going to tank. And then they were investigated. Of course, nothing happened. So, but it's going to be really, really, really interesting. Because once he announces, like, every rally, everything's going to be a campaign stop. And then he's going to have to watch this. As CNN stated this, they were Democratic operatives who tried to foment violence at Trump rallies. And so that's going to be a huge thing for him. He has to remember that media is going to try desperately. Exactly. Exactly. And Liz Cheney's father was had one of the worst foreign policy decisions, or was part of one of the worst foreign policy decisions of all time. And you had a scandal with Halliburton and corporations that make a great deal of money from never-ending military conflict. And that's the thing. Trump came in. He didn't play that. Trump was a billionaire, but, he made his money in real estate. He doesn't need politics. He didn't need politics. It's like the true icons don't need Hollywood. Great Grandma Anon is a true icon. You don't need Hollywood. If you don't need Hollywood, you don't need DC. You're like a legend. You're an icon. If you don't need these centers of power and you can speak your mind and do your thing. That's true freedom. Great grandma Anon, that is true freedom. There's probably a lot of people in Hollywood, a lot of people in Washington, D.C., a lot of people in the fashion industry, a lot of people in the corporate world who can't speak their mind, a lot of people in Silicon Valley who can't tell the world what they think, a lot of people in the NFL or NBA or MLB. And so Trump was a billionaire, but he made his money in a different way from Pierre Delecto and Romney and Joe and Hunter, who has emails with like clear violations of the law. I love how Liz Cheney doesn't look at, like, if you ask Liz Cheney, have you read Hunter's emails? She'll say no. They only focus on what's politically expedient for them. That's it. They will only focus on what's politically expedient. They won't actually, they'll pretend to really care about the country, but they won't actually focus on, like, they won't focus on what makes their political party or the Democratic Party, what points to corruption within those political parties. Casey, thank you again. Joel, thank you again. Great Grandma Anon, thank you as always. So kind of you. Trump doesn't need DC. Okay, you have a handful of icons and legends in Hollywood. They don't need Hollywood. You have a handful of people in DC who don't really need DC. Like Rand Paul doesn't need DC. Um, his father, Ron Paul, didn't really need Washington. Most politicians need to play ball. They can't really voice their true thoughts. So if the Democratic Party says, yeah, Trump worked with the Kremlin, they just have to go ahead and go along with it. These people don't believe it, but they're just going to say it. Now they're trying, it's kind of hilarious. Now they're trying to say, well, Trump really knew he was wrong. It's like, no, I think Trump actually is not the type of person, even if he is wrong, like he truly believed what he was saying. So, and like Liz Cheney's running for president. Did I tell you this? Did you you hear this? As if you haven't had enough laughs with Romney's Liz Cheney running. Liz Cheney, and she might. This is Mother Jones, which is hilarious because it's supposed to be a like left-leaning Liz Cheney, and she might run against Donald Trump. Liz Cheney's chances versus Donald Trump. Well, this is hilarious. This is really hilarious. Let's see here. 53%, 22%. And Liz Cheney would get 3% of Republican voters. No, he didn't. Wouldn't even match. Cheney was among Ted Cruz. Romney would get 3%. Romney would get 3%. Wah, wah, wah. Romney would get Rhino riding Romney would get 3%. Yeah, Cheney's running again. Great grandma, it's happening. It's gonna be a party. Well, Liz Cheney thinks she's running, but that would last like a day. Liz Cheney's chances of winning. She stated that she wants to save the country from Trump, which is hilarious. She's down 30 points in Wyoming, so she's not going to win in Wyoming, but she's going to become president. Cheney not ruling out 2024 run. Oh, you're not ruling it out? Okay, that's good of you. Joe Valdez. Trump is right even when he's wrong. Scarface. No, it's the Dos Equis man. It's the Dos Equis commercial. I'm wrong even when I'm right. I'm right even when I'm wrong. Um, Yeah, she wants to run. Let's see. Hillary running again. It's just, why do I do this to myself? Am I a glutton for punishment? It's going to happen, people. Yeah, it's happening. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Ah! The whispers of Hillary Clinton 2024 have started. Oh my goodness. Yes. Love it. This is what I look at every night before I go to bed. It's a very fantastic. It gives me good, warm dreams and happiness. Wonderful dreams. Age unresponsive. My computer's breaking down. Yes, I agree. Nobody will be happier. Now more than ever, Democrats need Hillary Clinton. I agree. I want every pundit who went after me or every publication, and not that I care about these pundits because I have zero respect for anyone who tried to disparage me in 2016. Which was fine. It only helped me, so I only derived strength from the negativity. But I was telling people the truth. I said Clinton would lose, and they said, "No, no, we have to Hillary." And I said, "Look, you know what? But I think that it would be good for the country to see it again, Hillary Trump, because we have to redo 2016. We're stuck in this time warp." I know it's very bizarre, but nobody is a greater Hillary Clinton 2024 fan than I am. Just so I can see the same Democrats who thought she would win in a landslide, then react in horror, then say that the Kremlin installed Trump, now are reacting in the most petrified reaction possible. Tell their audience to vote for Hillary again. I want to see that. I want to see every pundit, liberal pundit on YouTube say vote for Hillary again, and I want Trump to be the Grover Cleveland again, two non-consecutive terms, and for other reasons too. That would be interesting. That would be really interesting. Um, that would be a really it would be a it would be a it would be a moment in American political life that would actually break the media. It would break the exactly DVK, great grandma Anon. I Florida man bear. Florida man bear. Um Durham gets too close. That's one thing also. But then they'll try to say that about Trump. Oh, he's only running early because Liz Cheney is getting too close to the truth. Oh, not really. Um, I think that once the Durham probe continues, you have the Danchenko trial. Um, you have the Danchenko trial. You're going to see Hillary run again. I know it's this is the white whale of predictions, but eventually it'll happen. If not 2024, then 2028. If not 28, 2032, 2036, 2040, 2044, 2040, 2048, 2052. It'll happen eventually. Um, but yeah, I mean, that would be hilarious. She'll actually have no problem defeating mashed potato brains. I want to see every single person who ignored the fact that they cheated Bernie Sanders, vote for her again. Every single person who I told when I said Clinton would lose to Trump, every single person who tried to disparage me, I want those people to vote for Clinton again. I just want to see that. I don't know why. I can't even explain why. I just want to see all those pundits on YouTube say, you just got to do it. Got to vote for Hillary again. I obviously believe that Trump will be victorious, but there's a chance she could win. I don't think so, because the economy under mashed potato brains Joe is going to get so bad within the next couple of months. I just don't think that people will not want another Democrat in office. Regardless of one's own political affiliation or opinion of Clinton, the country knows her as an experienced politician, a champion of women's rights. Whether or not party leaders will admit it, there are no party leaders. What party leaders? There are no party leaders in the Democratic. Democrats know they need to move on from Biden. Gee, you think? What am I seeing? I'm telling you. Oh my God. I'm telling you, that'll be something that's going to happen, and it'll be fantastic. Could you imagine Hillary Trump 2024? Something that I've been saying forever, but I mean, it's didn't happen exactly when I said it, but it'll be could you could you imagine the the um the debates will be absolutely fantastic. Here, I mean, you have to you have to. We'll just read this and then we'll call it a night. But this was I watched debate mute Trump Hillary. This is one of the best. Great Grandma Anon. This is one of the best, the best articles ever written. Greatest articles ever. Oh, I say with all due respect to the author, greatest articles ever written. Okay. Oh my! This was in 2016 when they were. Oh, look at the shimmy. When they were so confident. This was before the Facebook ads, and the Kremlin launched an attack on our democracy. All right, so this is one of the best art. This is when the entire Democratic world, every journalist, all I was saying Clinton was going to lose, but they didn't think that she was going to lose. They thought Trump would lose in a landslide. Here, this is how you have to read this. This is the hubris. This is the height of the arrogance of U.S. media. When I was saying in the Hill the Huffington Post salon, even when I was on MSNBC, and CNN, I said Clinton's going to lose. But here, this is why I want another Clinton Trump 2024. I just want everyone on the left to vote for Clinton again. I can't explain why. There are probably reasons I can't explain, but here. It was a little shimmy of her shoulders, cheeky, insouciant, accompanied by a big toothy grin. Her opponent smirked. She looked as if she was having fun, he not so much. The exchange came as the first presidential debate was building towards its conclusion Monday night. What was it about? I have no idea. Per instruction from my editor, I was watching with the sound off. Alone, no checking my email, no social media. It was for me a silent debate. This is the height of, at this point right now, Clinton was going to win in a landslide, okay? But this is the best. The idea was simple, to test the theory. See, no mention of Russian Facebook ads, by the way. You see, that was after when Clinton, lost to Trump, like I said. The idea was simple, to test the theory that what presidential candidates in this instance, Hillary Clinton and Donald J. Trump, say during debates is less important than what they look like while they're saying it. Then they go Nixon and Kennedy. Okay. Then it gets really like hilarious. Okay. Exactly. I remember the fly. But then it gets really hilarious. It began, of course. It began, of course, with the ritual handshake at center stage before the candidates retreated to their lecterns. After the shake, Mr. Trump placed his hand gently on Mrs. Clinton's back. There were different ways to interpret the gesture. Was he being patronizing, trying to assert his alpha male dominance from the get-go, or just looking to demonstrate that he felt comfortable, relaxed, unthreatened by the professional politician? Whether involuntary or intentional, the signal was unmistakable. I am the strong one here. And either way, they were soon off, discussing the most pressing issues facing our nation, I can only assume. It will be no surprise to learn that Mr. Trump is loud, even with the sound off. This is like, you have to understand, the journalists, media, Democrats who think the man is loud, even with the sound off, they had no problem watching The Apprentice. But here, he delivered 90 minutes of increasingly exaggerated pantomimes, announcing the presence of someone who is restless, impassioned, emphatic, and at times belligerent. Do not call this man low energy. He has an extensive repertoire of almost manic hand and arm gestures. The one-handed karate chop, the accordion, his patented cobra. The performance is so physical with the pincer fingers and hyperactive eyebrows. The come on already shrug. There's not much work left for the words to do. So it's like, really? It's all like, there's no ambiguity about the message. Actions speak louder than words. Also, bring it on. Even when it was Mrs. Clinton's turn to speak, Mr. Trump couldn't stand still. He fidgeted, he smirked, he grimaced, he squinted. He adjusted his microphone, he grabbed hold of the sides of his lectern, he rocked back and forth on his heels, he pursed his lips. He threw his opponent disbelieving sidelong glances, and then an eye roll. He shook his head. He appeared to interrupt her repeatedly. On one occasion, I could make out the word, wrong. That was one of the best moments. He's like, wrong. He took a sip of water, then another, licking his lips. As he set the glass back down, he's more expressive while listening than most people are while speaking. Then you have the collective hubris of 70 million people. Okay? This is one of the best articles ever written. And you have to enjoy this. I'm the only one here who's enjoying it. Okay, I know. But here, in the face of continual turbulence, Mrs. Clinton had a studied serenity. She had made no secret of her assiduous debate preparation, and I couldn't help feeling that she had prepared for the very exercise I was engaged in. She seemed determined to make sure that her body language and facial expressions didn't communicate frustration or irritation. See Al Gore 2000. No matter what her opponent said, and she seemed equally determined to appear to be having fun. This is hilarious. Whether she was or not, could this possibly be fun? She succeeded in looking the part. She appeared unbothered, even amused by Mr. Trump's apparent assaults. I mean, this is, you gotta have to understand, the obsession with Trump started long before he defeated Clinton. At times, she looked a little smug, surely a lot smug to Mr. Trump's supporters. There was plenty of smiling, another product of debate prep, no doubt. See, then there's debate prep. And laughing, too, presumably at Mr. Trump's expense. The suggestion seemed to be that we were all in on the joke. She had her hand gestures as well, including her version of the trademark Clinton thumb. But she did little in the way of violence to the air around her. So, I mean, I'm the only one enjoying this, but here. Visually, anyway, there's a discernible arc to the event, with Mr. Trump going more agitated as the night wore on, and Mrs. Clinton becoming almost giddy with what she felt increasingly like genuine pleasure. Which brings us back to the shimmy. Yay, see, this is where's the Facebook ads? Where's the concerted effort from the Kremlin? Ah, that's right. There was no mention of that prior to Clinton losing to Trump. Here we go. Absent words, it felt like the most telling moment of the evening, a memorable, instinctive reaction to what I imagine must have been a Trump howler. In that instant, it was clear the debate had produced a winner. at least to those who hadn't actually heard a word of what the candidates had said. By the way, every debate Clinton won against Bernie Sanders and against Trump. And she literally didn't lose any debates, according to the New York Times, Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN. She won every debate. And I want to see that again. I want to see every debate win. And the polls saying she's going to win. And then they'll lose again. And who knows who they're going to blame. They can't blame the Kremlin again. It's like, really? Mrs. Clinton, he had vibrated with anxiety. She had radiated cool confidence. He had seemed to be crawling out of his own skin. She looked uncharacteristically comfortable in hers. Minutes later, it was all over. Once again, the candidates came together. Once again, Mr. Trump put his hand on Mrs. Clinton's back, this time with a little pat, to confer his approval on a job well done. Mr. Trump's family came out to greet him, but they opted to linger, exiting stage left, while Mrs. Clinton and her husband, oh, I remember that moment. It was so wonderful, celebrated the moment with their fans in the audience. I read this the salty constitutionalist. Hello. I read this in 2016, and it was just as awesome then. DVK. Hello. So it was just as awesome then as it is now. I want to see the same people who were obsessively and maniacally pushing Clinton's candidacy and the fact that you had to vote for. I want to see those same people do it all over again. I don't know. I mean, I can't explain why. I just can't really explain why, but I just want to see the same YouTubers tell their audience. If you ask me, well, explain why you want to say, it'll highlight the character flaw of the character flaws of so many people. Because when it comes to if it's not Trump or DeSantis, then I'm not going to vote. I'm just sit it out. I have no problem doing that. If you're a Democrat, though, it's like you were born, they expect you because you were born to this allegiance or this loyalty to the Democratic Party. So you have to vote for the nominee. And if you don't, it's, oh my God. But it's that mentality caused them to lose the Supreme Court. Not the fact that people didn't fall in line. The fact that they expected people to fall in line. And that they kept pushing the envelope in terms of corruption. You can't cheat people and expect to get away with it. Eventually, it's going to hurt you politically. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Great Grandma Anon, thank you so much. You're wonderful. I hope all is well. And God bless you and have a happy and wonderful 4th of July. I hope you had a happy and wonderful 4th of July. Great Grandma Anon, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, Joel, Casey, everybody here, thank you so very much, everybody. To my super chat, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, be here tomorrow evening at around 9 p.m. also. We will have another live stream. Subscribe to the Nuclear Confrontation and the Oil Prices 150 channel. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Great live stream. Great Grandma Anon, thank you again. Wonderful to see you. Thank you so much, as always. And Joel, Casey, everybody here. Herschel, thank you so much. Happy 4th of July. God bless America. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, everyone.